Welcome everybody to a new Boca in English podcast. Here the host Facundo Zalazar with once again Rodrigo Azurmendi. How are you? How was your weekend? What's going on?
It was interesting, but just anytime Boca wins, like even if the process was shaky and the improvements we want, are not materializing yet. Anytime Boca wins, it's a good week, and we'll have plenty. Like I always say, we'll have plenty of time to be pissed if and when tragedy arrives, but tragedy hasn't arrived yet, so. It's gonna be
Gonna
a good
enjoy
week.
it. We're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So always a good way when Boca wins. Always happy. We enjoy it. Me myself, I watched it with my dad. Had some empanadas. It was a good game. We watched a bunch of games on Saturday and then enjoyed Boca winning. It wasn't pretty, but I got the job done. Sometimes, in Boca history, we have games like this where we don't play well. Maybe we don't deserve to win. I don't think this was the case, but we won. Let me go through a few of the stats so people are aware. So Boca played against Lanús. Like you guys know, we finished second in the tournament, and Lanús finished seventh in the group. So we had to play them. The game was at La Bombonera because we had home advantage, and the lineup started like this. So in goal we had Marchesin, we had Blondel, which came in for Advíncula. Then we have Ataglia, Rojo, Blanco, so pretty much the same there. And then we had a change of formation. So we went back to what you could say 4-3-1-2, or maybe you could say it was 4-1-4-1, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So we had Belmonte, Delgado, and Zenon. Let's say that Palacio was a little bit forward, and on top was Velasco and Merentiel. So the formation again, it looked on paper as 4-3-1-2, but I think that Velasco was dropping a little bit more next to Palacio, and Zenon was coming up a little bit more. So it was a combination of a formation that maybe could work. In this case, we were not able to score. I think that because we have only one number 9 or one forward, because Velasco, for me, it's not considered like a full forward. I don't know what you think, Rodri, but he doesn't seem like a nice. He's not a Ceballos, he's not a Cavani, he's not like Aguirre. He's more a player that could play as a Palacios. So they decided to play like that. I think it was a better formation than what we had against Tigre. So let's say that it seems like a little progress, going forward.
Yeah.
They are understanding the kind of formation the Boca needs to actually win this tournament, to win this playoffs. But again, we play against Lanús. The game ended 0-0, and then we won in PKs. I think it was 4-2 or 5-3. It was 4-2.
Yeah.
So they missed the first PK, Rojo scored, Alarcón scored, then they missed the third PK. Who was Ceballos scored, and then Jimenez scored. I completely forgot. Here the stats have Rojo twice.
Yeah, Ceballos went second, and then Alarcón went third. Great PK, by the way. And then Jimenez with a little bit of just suspense.
Of luck.
Yeah.
But
he shot it really hard. So.
Oh yeah, 100%, and that's what you need. Sometimes we had to secure the spot, put it in. So let's talk about first the PKs. I read something online that actually made a lot of sense. I feel like for the first time, we have PK takers that should be set, no questions. For example, Rojo took 11 PKs in his career, scored all of them.
Yeah.
Ceballos, I feel like every time he took a PK, he scored. I remember in 2023, he scored every PK.
Yeah, and they're not like just kind of like lucky ones either.
No.
The way he impacts the ball is actually very clean and very strong. Like sometimes he can be a weak player
every single time.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah.
And then we have Alarcón, that I think that the last 2-3 PKs he took.
Yeah, and he's a specialist. I mean, he's a free kick, specialist. So I mean, you definitely want that guy shooting.
So with that being said, like I read this online, it's like we have, and then we have Milton that scored. it's not the first time that Milton took a PK because he took one against Alianza Lima and he scored.
Yeah.
So going forward, any coach should know, all right, if we go to PKs, these four should take it. Then Cavani should not take it. I mean, they should not take it.
It's
like, I'm not pointing on them. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but every time that Cavani and Intel take a PK, they've been struggling with PK. So going forward, if we go to PKs again, let's say against next round, we should have those four taking at least 4 of the 5 PKs. So I hope the coaches are taking notes there.
Yeah.
I hope they know that Rojo has to take one, and the same as Changuito Ceballos, blah blah. The same way that they studied Alianza Lima and they put they switched the goalies. Marquezin was a sub and break him in. They should study who are the good takers. So that's a very positive thing. All the PKs. But now, if you want to get into the game, Rodri, it's all yours.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask something about the PKs. I think it's like a lot of it is what you said, and I also saw that those stats, and they're very like striking because not just at the top and like the ones who like kick often and score, but also kind of like down at the bottom. Like it's usually like Merentiel. I think he's like shot 4 and missed like all of them. I believe, and then like Cavani is like 3, 4, 5. So like I would like. I think it's a mix because, obviously like guys like Alarcón, he's been injured for a while. He finally came back for this game. So welcome back, Williams Alarcón. We missed you. And Ceballos, he's a sub. So, I mean, sometimes he'll be in, sometimes he won't be. Obviously, having 5 subs, if you have like one left at the end, you definitely want to just kind of like bring him in to kick. But like, I think it's important to just kind of like, Boca has more players who are actually pretty accurate. Someone like Lema, I think he's 2 for 2 with Boca, but like even before in like Belgrano and like Lanús, even in like I think when he played for Benfica, even then he was like shooting PKs and doing it really well. So like I think it's more about avoiding the players who are just not like great, and it's not an indictment. Like just like, a PK is a completely different thing. So like like even Maradona like used to miss like PKs like all the time. Messi is like I think it's like an under 80% accuracy in PK. So like just good, like stack your good like shooters at the beginning, and then obviously if it keeps going and you get to like the 7th and 8th penalty and like Cavani has to kick, sure, but like don't have him go first. Don't even have him go 5th to just kind of be the hero. Just push him back, and like he should be able to understand and be like, hey Eddie, like we need you for other things, but we don't need you for this. So just like don't make sure your ego is not bruised, and we're just gonna let out the guys. Yeah, Merentiel too. Like just like dude, like sorry man, but you're gonna kick 8th, okay? And we're gonna have like Lautaro Blanco kick in front of you. We're gonna have Zenon kick in front of you. Like if we get to that, like I don't think Bataglia or Rondel, those guys, I don't think have much of a chance. But like I would rather give some of those new guys a shot over the guys that have proven to fail more often than they score.
Yeah, I mean we're pointing this out because we're still hurting from Alianza Lima, obviously, that we lost in PKs. And like it or not, I mean, the other day 5 teams played, 5 brackets played, and all of them got the if it wasn't because they scored in the last minute, 4 out of 5 would have gone to PKs.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to say with this is like it's very possible that from here till the final, if Boca actually makes it to the final, it's very possible that we will have another PK situation.
Absolutely. For sure.
So
if we keep advancing, we're going to do it again.
Correct. So besides that, I wanted to point that out because I saw that online and I thought that it was very smart to somebody be like, listen, we have 4 solid ones. Make sure they kick if we have PKs, and then the rest ones, like the old ones that are not very as confident, would not take it. So I just wanted to point that out. But let's go back to the game. The game was interesting. I feel like Boca deserved a little more. We had a lot of chances, not a lot of shots on goal. We had 2 good shots on goal from Blondel, a few crosses, but nothing crazy that would be like, Boca deserved more than Lanús. I also think that Lanús had nothing going on, to be honest. At no point throughout the 90 minutes, I had a moment of, wow, they're going to be, they're going to score on us or they're all over us.
I felt like I was scared the last 10 minutes, to be honest.
Yeah,
Like they were like, I mean, not on like just on sheer, just kind of going forward, and we seemed
yes.
very tired.
But the thing, I was chatting with my dad, and I told him it's like the last 20 minutes it looked like a Sunday league where
Yeah,
both teams were not organized a lot at
yeah,
all. They're both going at it. They were attacking with a lot of players,
yeah.
defending with a
No
lot of
midfield,
players.
like just
There
like
was
box to
nothing.
box.
So yeah, that was the only time that they could score, but not because they were better than us or they deserved, just because we were desperate to score. I think that Boca in the last 20 minutes were desperate to not go to PKs once again at home with your
Yeah,
fans, that it was very not organized at all. So again, that it was a weird game. It wasn't like a great game, to be honest. If somebody got to the stadium for the first time to watch that game, they didn't
yeah.
see a great game, to be honest. So there's not much to analyze. We can go through some
I
stats if you want. Shots on goal, like it says, shots on goal was 3 for Boca, 4 for Lanús. Possession was 54 to 46. It wasn't that much going on. We made a few changes with 30 minutes left. Like Jimenez came in for Velasco, Ceballos came in for Zenon, and then the last two, there were Sarachi for Blanco and Alarcón for Belmonte. I think those were more like the PK situation.
Yeah, makes sense.
But there's not much to analyze about this game, to be honest. I don't know
Yeah,
what you think.
I do want to point something out, which was kind of part of my frustration, throughout the game was that like you gotta analyze the context of the game, right? We so Boca played last Sunday, right? So we were on 6 days rest for this game on Saturday. Lanús, they played on
Tuesday.
Tuesday in Peru at altitude with their starters. So they were like they were on basically 4 days rest, and they had to like go all the way to Arequipa in Peru and fly back. So that should have been a big advantage. So if you had the home court advantage and the rest advantage, we should have like trucked them. They're not a bad team at all. They have very good players. Like, some are a little bit older, Izquierdo, Salvio, but they're very good. They're quality players even at this stage of their career. So, but physically, we should have crushed them, and we didn't. And not only that, down the stretch, they looked like the fresher team. Like they had more legs than us. And I was just livid at that because I'm like, come on, man. Like I understand, like, okay, we're not having a good moment, like just soccer wise quality creating chances, but like physically we should have just like overwhelmed them, and we didn't, and like we allowed this thing to like get to like the last 10 minutes where it was just like it could like anyone could have won it based on the fact that like there was no midfield anymore, so we were going box to box to box to box, and it was basically like goal wins, and like
I think that, to be
both
honest, to your point,
goalkeepers.
Rodri,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt, sorry.
No, I was
But
just gonna
to
say
your
that.
point,
Yeah.
I think that happened to us because we didn't have another forward. I feel like Merentier was a little lost by himself, so he
Yeah.
was fighting against a big, like Izquierdos or big
Yeah.
players all the time. And Velasco was dropping too much. Palacio was dropping too
Yeah.
much. Zenon was dropping too much. So it got to a point that we're missing that help, because Merentier was a target, but then there was no help to come with it. And in
Yeah.
the midfield, it's not like our midfielders were crushing the box
Yeah,
when we
Belmonte
had the
goes to the
goal.
box, but he does absolutely nothing when he gets there.
Yeah,
So,
but Belmonte has another role in this
of
team.
course, yeah,
So for example, if you want to put that formation with a 4-5 in the middle, maybe Belmonte is just not there. Like maybe take Belmonte out and put another forward or another player that can go a little more attacking, like Alarcón, right?
yeah,
So, but again, I think that we gave them the opportunity to tie 0-0 because they knew that 0-0 they were going to be comfortable with. And the fact that they knew there was only one forward for Boca, they were comfortable with that. Lanús were very, very comfortable with that. And our midfielders are maybe not in a great shape to be up and down, and crushing the box. So that's where we struggle. So I understand that we don't have another number 9. I understand that maybe Ceballos is not the
yeah,
option. I understand that Aguirre is not the option.
yeah,
When Milton came in, I was like, all right, with Milton in, this could be a different kind of game. But he came in very late. So
yeah.
it's tough when you have only one forward. So
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
an interesting game where we gave them the 0-0, right?
yeah. No, for sure. And I do want to point out that Milton Jimenez returning from injury. So that is good news. I mean, he looked a little slow. Obviously, he's like rusty from, from like, I think it's almost a month of not playing. So, but the good news is that like most likely he will be available to start next game. We don't know if Mariano Ron is going to decide to do it, but we know we're going to have that option. So like, that problem that you're identifying, I think it could be solved by next week.
Fantastic. All right, so we wanted to talk about who played well and who didn't.
Yeah,
You
not
start,
a long
and
list.
then
At least not the first one.
I. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the first one, I think that good player that there was Marchesino in goal. Had
Yeah.
a few good saves, and then like it or not, he saved a PK.
Oh,
Saving the first PK is fantastic, and then making that pressure that the other player put it up above the bar. That's huge. Obviously, he have huge saves during the game. I do remember there was a play that he saved us from a cross and like a complicated shot. But besides that, there was nothing big. However, you need a goalie to save you in these kind of situations.
absolutely.
It's good boost of confidence for him,
Yeah.
for the future, for the next time we go to PKs and not make the mistake that we did against Alianza Lima.
Yeah.
Then I think that Rojo had a great game.
Yeah.
Like it or not, he's getting better. He seems a little more chilled in the head,
Yeah,
not
not
making
too
those
much, but a little bit.
mistakes.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's the typical captain that has to talk and be annoying and blah,
Yeah.
blah. The typical center forward, center back.
Yeah.
That is annoying. He's probably annoyed because the center forwards are probably annoying too. So I think that those two were the best players of the pitch. Obviously, with that being said, that Milton Delgado was the best one, I think. He had a great game, touching, going, recovering the ball. He was in every position. He saves everybody's ass for a little bit, for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And then he disappeared a little bit because there was not much going on in the middle. But I think the first half was his half, and then the second half was, a mix of Rojo and him. I do want to point out something. I know that some people are not very big fan of Blondel, but I do like the fact that Blondel actually tries to shoot on goal, to actually do something
Absolutely.
and go forward. He might not be the best defender, he might not be the best right back, but at least he's always looking to go up and going forward and making the cross and shooting goal. Also, he's not that predictable. People still don't know what he's doing on the pitch, which is, I don't know if it's great, but he's not that predictable. And like it or not, he's always there. He's always there in the box, bothering people.
And you were saying earlier how we don't have enough people just like, stepping into the box, when we're attacking. So he definitely fills a gap, the void of players that do that.
Yeah. Who else do you think you play well?
No, I did want to point to highlight Milton Delgado. Even with certain mistakes, he's still just the most consistent player, and he just kind of seems to save. And also like just there's a lot of players to criticize, and I think most players are not playing up to their standards. But he is the one that always kind of like shows up. I mean, I do want to shout out like Ceballos a little bit. I mean, he's to me, he's almost kind of like almost more of the same. But like I like the attitude of just coming in, trying to make something out of nothing. So I think that's important. I think that's kind of like the role that he should be playing right now. I think we should probably go to it a little earlier, like in games where like, where we're facing some adversity, and especially against a tired team like Lanús. I probably would have played him a little earlier. But that's about it. I think Marchesín was kind of did, he kind of filled the role of like the big team goalkeeper where like they're only going to shoot at you like once or twice and you need to be ready for those. And then obviously like not only stopping the first penalty, but like also like, when the other team shoots first, if they score that one, then you're like always kind of like from behind and trying to catch up. So the fact that he stopped the first one and then Rojo scored, then like that flipped the whole thing, and we were up the whole way, and that put pressure on Dylan Aquino. He's a young, very talented kid from Lanús, and he just like missed the mark by a lot. And at that point, it was like, okay, we have 4 match points. All we got to do is like stop one or make one. And, Milton Jimenez just like blew, just blew up the keeper's hands, and that sent us celebrating.
Yeah, great. Who did not play well?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I didn't like Bataglia. I'm still not convinced by Blondel. I appreciate the kind of like the running and covering that Belmonte does, but it's just never quite enough
Not your
for
cup
me.
of tea.
Huh?
Not your cup of tea.
Yeah, he's not my cup of tea because like I expect. I was just actually like arguing with someone on Twitter about this with Belmonte, where like we grew up with the guys like like Diego Caña or even Pablo Ledesma, and they were that kind of like right midfielder. And those guys had a lot of sacrifice and a lot of just kind of like box to box action, but they scored a little more and they just they did a few more things on offense. So just to me, only providing sacrifice and running, it's like, okay, yeah, it's kind of half of the job of that position, but I need a little more. So like, and just Belmonte. And like, I do appreciate that Belmonte also goes to the box and tries to just be a presence, and the ball always seems to find them. But he's so bad at finishing. So absolutely, like he's probably the worst finisher in like Argentinian soccer. Like he's just so bad. Like especially on headers, like he has like the ball just kind of like boings off of his head. It's incredible. But like again, I appreciate the effort. I do want to note that like he is kind of giving his all. I just don't think his all is enough right now. And then like Velasco just kind of keeps disappointing. I understand the arguments for playing him because we need him. We need him to perform. We need him to snap out of his funk, but he's just not doing enough right now. And now that we're gonna get Jimenez back for sure, and possibly even Cavani, that's not confirmed. Obviously, we're a week away. It's Monday today from the next game. Most likely Velasco is probably gonna head back to the bench, and then Palacios just kind of faded away, and it's unfortunate because he was playing really well, like 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah, I feel like to finish the Velasco topic and then move into the Palacio topic. So Velasco, I feel like the other day he did all right. Before against Tigre, I think he had a terrible game. I think that the other day against Lanús, he did a little bit better. When I say better, he had like a 3-point game against Tigre, and now he had a 4.5 game.
Sure.
So nothing great. But he had a few chances where he could have shown why we pay so much money for him, why he was a great player back in the day. And he did not perform. Like he missed the chances that he was supposed to make. There was a play that we all saw that he had an open pass to leave somebody, I don't remember who, face to face to the keeper, and he actually passed it to the other team. Like the only player that was there to stop him, he's passed to him. I feel like he's still very nervous. He still needs to find his feet. He needs to get some confidence. I don't know if that's going to do it during the week or during a game, but he's still missing that I am number 20, number 10, whatever you call it. I'm playing in Boca. This is my team. I need to own this. This is my ball. I need to be that player. Maybe Palacios is trying to believe that he's that kind of guy, but Velasco is still not thinking like that. Like we know that he can make mistakes. That's okay. If you look at any professional team, they make a ton of mistakes all the time. But he doesn't have that mentality of I am that dude, right? I am that dude that's going to grab the ball, miss, but maybe 1 or 2 passes are going to be perfect for my teammate. He's not shooting on goal either, right? He's not finding that space to shoot, and he's a good long distance guy. He's not there yet. I don't know what it is. He has to adapt to the new league, have to come back for the injury. Maybe he's not there yet, and that kind of blows. The only thing that makes me feel better about him is like he's still very young. He has a long career ahead of him. With that being said, they have the other option, which is Palacios. Palacios, I think that he was playing better, but he's still not finding himself in the positioning of the field. For example, I feel like he doesn't trust his teammates to give him the ball where he's supposed to be, right? So if you think about, let's say, Riquelme back in the day, There was a time in Boca that Riquelme would step all the way up and wait for the ball to come to him. Yeah, there was a time that he would drop a lot because he could, but Palacio drops too much. He doesn't trust, like you said, Belmonte to give him the ball, Delgado to give him the ball, Zenon to give him the ball. So he drops 20 to 30 meters to grab the ball, and then he's so far from Independiente.
Yeah.
And then that's when we lose him. Like, we cannot have a player that is supposed to be in the 3/4 of the pitch, just drop in and grab the ball next to Delgado.
Yeah.
I don't know if they practice that during the week. It's just what we see during the games. That there's a dude that's supposed to be in the top part of the field, and he's dropping too much. And when that happens, or he loses the ball, or Milton Delgado is like, where should I go? Belmonte doesn't know where to go. Zenon is like, all right, should I go to the side? But if I open myself, then I'm blocking Blanco. So it's a mix of players there that should not be there.
And it's usually, when a good player like that drops that far back, it's a sign that the team's not generating and the things are not working as expected. This also, we see this all the time when we're not playing well with Cavani. Like, Cavani will drop all the way back, like basically take the ball straight from Milton Jimenez and start to try to create there, but with 50 meters away from goal. It's just too much, especially at his age, and especially because we don't really have super fast players. So just the distance, it's too much to overcome. I mean, we have good players, but we don't have fast players, and especially with Velasco at this level, and Palacios just playing too far. So I think Delgado and especially Zenon, I mean, they're definitely capable of getting him the ball higher. He just needs to trust him a little more, like you said, and hopefully that's something that can improve. I think definitely I would consider playing Alarcón instead of Belmonte. But again, Alarcón is just coming off a surgery, just coming off a long layoff. So, I don't know if he's ready to play 90 minutes, but maybe he can play the first 60 and then we'll go from there, play Belmonte the last 30, So, I mean, I know that would kind of eliminate your plan of having him for the PKs, but just kind of hopefully we score a couple goals and we don't have to go to PKs, so, but yeah, no, I totally agree with what you said about Palacios, and we need him back. I mean, he doesn't lack confidence, right? I mean, you can tell he's a confident guy. It's just that he is just not turning that confidence into production right now.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that you also can try is you have Rojo and Bataglia that had good, strong passes. So if you don't trust maybe Delgado or Belmonte to give you the ball, why don't you just try to push the number 9? Let's say you have Cavani and Milton on top. Just push them as much as you can, leave that huge space, and then have Rojo and Bataglia finding those long passes at 20, 30 meter pass that they can make, right? Worst come to worst, put it to a number 9, and they can hold it and leave him for him to release. So those are the little things that I think we need practice. I mean, Erron just grabbed the team, 10 days ago. So sucks that we're still, right now in the playoffs and trying new things.
Yeah.
But it is what we have. All right. So that's pretty much about the game. We have a few more things that we want to talk about. So what happened in the end?
Yeah, so we want to give fans, because obviously the whole Twitter conversation right now is basically a civil war between fans, and it happened at the stadium, and it's happening on social media, and it's a total shit show. So we want to give fans the context of what were the chants during the game and what they mean and what the intended purpose is for these chants. So basically, anytime Boca is looking kind of sluggish, just kind of not really progressing, looking slow and sleepy. There's this song, it's called Movete Boca Movete, or Movete Ceneice Movete, which means you're basically telling the guys, hey guys, move, do something. It's so that's kind of the it's a gentle nudge towards come on guys, wake up, let's go forward, let's try to win.
It's a very, very effective Boca chant, because before you get into the next songs, there's a few songs they sang the other day that for me, they're not Boca fans. They were not sang until 2 years ago. They became very popular on social media, which doesn't identify with what Boca means or what Boca does. For example, Movete Boca Movete is a song, like you said, that, usually in the history of Boca, they don't try to go against the players, and they try to have these songs to be like, hey, dude, you guys are struggling. You need to do something. Like, we need to get our shit together because you're not giving us what we are giving you.
Yeah.
So the first song started with that, which was a very gentle Boca song to be like, all right, dude.
It also came
step
very
it up.
early, like 25
Right.
minutes into the first half, which shouldn't happen, right? I mean, this is more like a kind of like a pick me up, like you're trying to pick up the team in the second half when they're starting to just kind of like, tire out a little bit. Doing it in early in the first half, it's just not a good sign, but it's also a sign that the fans have lost their patience, so it's like the fans, I mean, every time you go to the stadium or you like sit down to watch the game, like just the faith kind of like renews, right? So you're like, okay, this is gonna be the day where we're gonna snap out and we're gonna kick their ass, but then the game starts, and like very quickly, most of these games just turn into the same old game that we watch every weekend, so it's like that's kind of like the patience runs out very quick for fans, and they're like, come on guys, move, can we like snap out of it? So that's the meaning of the first song. You want to talk about the next one and the historical context?
Yeah. What was the second one?
Well,
Because
it's
there was a
jugadores,
bunch.
right?
Ah,
So
yeah.
so so
So
jugadores
the
is yeah.
Jugadores one. Yeah, sorry. So the Jugadores is a song that I personally don't like. I think it's not Boca based, right? For example, I love the song that says, nosotros alentamos, ponga huevo que ganamos. I think that's more like a Boca fan based song. But the Jugadores one became famous probably like in 2023, which is a song that I don't agree, because I don't think that the fans should communicate like that to the players. I know that other people like it that way.
Yeah.
I personally don't like it. However, it is a very aggressive, very like, we're gonna kill you if you don't get this shit done, which is fair. I agree that everybody can express themselves the way they want. They pay the ticket to be there. I've been to the Bombonera more than 100 times, and I never heard that song until 2 years ago.
Well, I mean, historically, like, there's this myth that like Boca fans never like criticize or chant against the team. It's happened throughout history. Obviously, we have a very positive and successful history, so we haven't had to like just kind of resort to that many times. But it is kind of one of those kind of like break glass in case of emergency. And the funny thing with that is that like it's happened in recent memory, like from my memory, it's happened 3 times. So the first time in recent history was when we played Deportivo Pereira in Copa Libertadores.
That was the first time in the history of Boca that happened.
Okay, there you go. All right. Yeah. So that's again, we wanna, and this sounds kind of silly about like, but these have a meaning, and it's not it's kind of like beyond the words. It's the fact that you're singing it, that you're going there. It sends such a powerful message to the players. I mean, so basically, it's basically the song. I mean, I'm not gonna translate it, but it basically, they insult the players, right? And then they tell them to like, hey, go win, because we're not playing against anyone. Like, we're playing bad competition. Go win this. So it's usually like, it's not like you wouldn't chant this like if you're losing to like Bayern Munich. You're chanting this when you're like putting on an awful show against a bad team.
I feel like this song is when you're fed up after weeks after weeks after weeks.
Yeah. It doesn't happen. You don't just go there every week. Absolutely. So it was funny. So we were playing Deportivo Pereira of Colombia in 2023 Copa Libertadores in the group stage. It was like we were down 1-0 at La Bombonera, and it was looking like we were just not even gonna make it out of the group. It was like dire straits. So like 80 minutes in, the fans finally just had it, and they started chanting it. And lo and behold, in like 10 minutes, Boca like turned it around. We had that awesome Advíncula, like left-footed, and I think it was a cross from Barco and Varela, I think, with a header. So like it works. Like players know, and it does something in their brains, and the players just like react. Now, fast forward to like that was 2023. Fast forward to this year, 2025, we were playing at home against Aldosivi. This was after, if I'm not mistaken, this was after Alianza Lima, right? And we're playing at home against Aldosivi, and we're at this stage where like we're super pissed off, because we lost that game. We're out of Libertadores. We're like, we need to win every game forever, to make up for that. And we're playing Aldo Civi, and we're playing like crap, but Aldo Civi sucks. So we score, we're up 1-0, and then out of nothing, Aldo Civi ties it. And the fans were like, absolutely fucking not. We are not putting up with this bullshit. So they went to it again. Jugadores. What happened? 5 minutes later, 2 minutes later, Merentiel scores the second one, we win, right? So it works. I'm not saying that. I mean, it's not magic, right? I mean, you don't want to, like, even if you did it every weekend, it would lose its meaning.
Yeah, I think it's shocked for the fans because not the whole stadium sings it, because I think, again, for somebody like me that grew up going
You
every
don't want to
Sunday,
do it.
Correct. You don't want to do it. You're not going to do it. If I was sincere, I was not going to do it.
Oh, I would absolutely. I would do it every game.
Yeah, and that's fine. I would sing the other songs, that I like and enjoy more to bring them up, and that's okay. I mean, but it's just a cultural shock for the Boca fan base to have half of the stadium singing that song. That for the players, it's also like, what the hell is happening? Like, I cannot be listening to this being a Boca player. So like I said, they sang it against Aldo Civi, and we won again not because of the song, but having 60,000 people singing that song is probably not great. So the third time happened now.
Yeah.
So against Lanús, I remember the time. It was like 10 minutes left, 20 minutes left.
It was also about 10 minutes left, and obviously we didn't score, but it was like we were like on the verge. Like it was this kind of like moment where it was back and forth, and like fans noted that, like, hey, dude, if we don't do something, like, these idiots are gonna lose. So they're just kind of like, they tried to get the team to like snap out of it, and Boca had a few chances down the stretch, including that Blondell missile that the Lanús keeper stopped. And yeah, and it definitely just kind of galvanized the team a little bit, and it kind of primed the players to, like, okay, man, this is serious. Like, the fans are pissed. Like, we need to get it together. I thought that was a very clear message. I think it has a way of focusing players and be like, okay, we gotta do something. Like, we gotta run more, run harder, just like do something. And it has that effect for people.
Yeah.
And then, do you have anything more to say about this specific song?
No. Then the game ended.
So we're getting to penalties.
We tied. I think I'm gonna tell you what was going through my mind. So what was going through my mind was like, wow, once again, we are home. We tied against a team that was not better than us.
Yeah.
We just lost everything in the year. Everything is going like a disaster. We don't have a coach. I think like everything just got pushed into like a glass of water, and somebody poured a gallon more water, and it just exploded. And before the penalty kicks, the whole stadium is chanting against the board.
Yeah.
There's a specific song that usually most of the teams, when the board is not doing great, that sings. I sang that before in La Moneda. Probably the last time I sang was against Angelici, with my reasoning.
Totally deserved.
I don't remember before Angelici if we ever sang that for, we had a very successful 20 years.
Yeah.
So before Angelici, I remember singing that song. Now they sang it again for the first time against the board. The board meaning Riquelme. Riquelme was the main victim of the song, let's put it that way.
It's also a very convenient way of like just like going at Riquelme without doing it by name, given the fact that he's the biggest idol in club history. So I think that would be a bridge too far, at least right now.
Yeah, 100%. That song is very common. When we started against Angelici, we did it a million times. I remember going crazy like this, in the stadium. I've done it throughout all his.
It's also very, very generic. So I'm sure like every team,
also,
anything can sing it, and it still makes sense.
But it's always generic because it's like, we know that the problem is not Angelici or Riquelme. It's the whole thing behind it, right? Yeah. So you got to a point that you start with, you start with the whole administrative board, let's put it that way. And if nothing changes in there, meaning somebody getting fired, you go for the head, right? Because with Angelici, it started not just to Angelici, it was like the whole thing, right?
And then they got to Angelici by name.
Correct. When Angelici didn't do anything, or he was actually, selling us, put it that way.
Yeah.
You go to the head. So right now, Riquelme is not getting all the attention, because I think that the stadium itself, the people that sang this, are aiming to only one thing, and it's the Consejo de Fútbol.
Yeah.
I feel like if the Consejo is removed from the administration, fans, not all of them, because everybody has their politic, you know,
Yeah, the
how you got
political
the politic
leanings, some are
motive.
more like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that they're not going to be happy, but for the people that probably voted for Riquelme or like Riquelme and sang that day, they just want to get rid of that Consejo de Fútbol that doesn't do anything. It just makes more mistakes than other. People want Riquelme to take ownership. They voted for him. I voted for him. We want him to be the one picking the coach.
Yeah.
We want him to be the one talking to the press conference. So that happened for the PKs. And also one more song that is connected to that one is like, we want everybody to leave. Everybody meaning the coach, the players.
That one hits everyone.
That is like free for all. If we have a machine gun, it will shoot everybody.
Pretty much, yeah. That one covers all the bases, yeah.
So usually they don't go together, but when they go together, you know that the whole stadium is like, all right, the players are also the problem, because when the players hear about, you know, them going against the board, they're like, oh, we're good to go. No, the song that says, you know, que se vayan todos, is like players included.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that? You know, now people's Twitter's a freaking mess. I don't read Twitter because it's a mess, but the timing, the people said that the timing was terrible, that Boca's not supposed to do that.
There was one more wrinkle, which was that, and this happens, unfortunately, it happens more than I wish it did, was that the fact that, like, so people started chanting that Jugadores song the first time, and then like the kind of like the ultras, you know, the Barra Bravas, basically, La Doce, they started kind of chanting and kind of chanting over them and kind of trying to like drown out that chant. Obviously, like the rest of the stadium, since obviously there's way more people, you know, they kind of join in, and obviously, and it broke through like a minute later, like the chant broke through again. So, you know, we get some of that stuff where, like, you know, there's some fans chanting, you know, against, you know, the team or against the board, and then you have like the La Doce basically just kind of chanting over them, and just, you know, and they're not chanting back, they're basically just kind of chanting in support of the team. But like, I just think it's so tone deaf, because, you know, you chant 90 minutes on support of the team week after week. So it's like, this is a moment where, like, hey, like, it's time to say something, you know, it's time to criticize. So it pisses me off when they do that. I don't like and I know we see a little different on this. I don't like the culture of like 100% unconditional support no matter what until I die. That is bullshit. Like, you know, if you have a family member that's like, you know, screwing up, you gotta tell them some hard truths. And like, and honestly, like, we're doing this, you know, because we want Riquelme to just make better choices, so Boca can improve, so he can be reelected and he can stay forever if he like does things well. He's just not doing any of that. We want some heads to roll. Nothing is changing. No heads are rolling. So like, something like we have to we have to step it up, and people finally did. You know, they did, and like now today, it's like, fans are like, you know, there's the whole political thing where, like, you know, the Riquelmistas are, you know, just kind of like saying that, like, oh, it was like paid fans and like only like opposition. And then it's like, no, dude, like the people that were in the stadium were like, no, dude, it's like 85% of the stadium was chanting against the players, against Riquelme, against everyone, because like those fans are like us, you know, we're just like, we're pissed off, man. Like, it's impossible. Like, if you're not pissed off at like a lot of the things that are going on, you just simply don't love Boca. You're just there to like do politics, and you know, so hopefully the message gets through to Riquelme,
I mean,
and something starts to change.
Somebody that maybe never watched Boca or never been following it for 20 years, you know, I voted 4 times. So 4 times 4, 16 times, 16 years, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It happens every single year when there's like a political thing or something like that. The 15% that you're talking about, that like La Doce, I've seen La Doce people, you know, when people were going against Angelici.
Yeah.
They're kicking them in the stadium and going after them.
That's they're always with power, with the power, so it's like it's not like La Doce is Riquelmista or that they're like opposite. They're always pro whoever's in
power. They're dollar oriented. Simple as that. They're peso dollar oriented.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
okay. That's their job. They're entrepreneurs. Put it that way.
Like, those are the paid fans. To be
correct. So I don't point out so much what La Doce is singing, because even though they're part of the Boca fans and they are worldwide known. In situations like this, it's very hard to believe what they follow because I've seen it on the other side of the spectrum. When people are chanting against Angelici and them singing for Boca and singing for not Angelici, but to cover up the voices.
Basically the fan
that happens all the time. So let's not talk about that. Most of the people are fed up, and that's okay. I mean, most of the people are fed up with the situation. It makes sense why they're fed up. Let's say that 60,000 people at the stadium, 15,000 maybe are political involved. The other 40, they just want Boca to win, I think.
Of course.
And out of those 40, if 20 wants to sing one thing and 20 wants to sing another thing, you have to deal with it. The fact that they're saying that the whole Boca fan base is divided and all that, to be honest, at this point, I don't like to believe it because I see it every day, right? So I'm in 2 group chats, so people going to the World Cup here, and they're not talking about politics at all. They're like, we're not talking about politics anymore. We're just gonna, be with Boca. We're gonna, criticize the players. We're gonna criticize. People are also starting to get fed up with that. Yeah. So it might be a few months with that thing that's spread out a little bit. But coming back to what I told you before, the only thing that Riquelme has to do is start doing the correct things.
Yeah.
Find a good coach. Dissolve the Consejo. If you know that the whole stadium doesn't want the Consejo, just dissolve it. Who cares? Like, we involved them. We voted for you. Better players. He had a great window, so we cannot complain about that.
Yeah, just some cleanup of the roster of some of the older players. The ones that don't play, the ones that failed. Yeah. Well, we can do an episode later on about that.
Correct. So there's a lot of things that we can point out, but it's very tense right now with Boca, but it's a normal situation where your team is not doing great. Like it or not, we still we're second in the tabla anual. We're still in the quarterfinals. Anything can happen now. So we want a coach, we want better players to represent us, and we want the Riquelme to do better things. That's what I think the fans are saying. I wasn't in the stadium. I cannot tell from my couch what the stadium is feeling, but I can see the frustration, and it's valid. They pay the ticket. When people say, if you want to criticize, don't come. Dude, I've been paying every month for the last 20 years. I deserve to go and say whatever I want. Forward or not, I deserve to do whatever the fuck I want in the stadium.
Of course, absolutely.
So if you want to close out, we can move to the next 2 points.
Yeah, no, just really quick. Obviously, we wanna just kind of move forward, and we're gonna play Independiente, the all-time Independiente, because it was like a battle of both Independientes in the round of 16. The Independiente de Avellaneda, they won. So we're gonna be playing them. We're gonna be playing them on Monday, which is odd, but there's a reason, because there's elections in Buenos Aires over the weekend. So there won't be games those days. And since Independiente plays Copa Sudamericana, I believe, tomorrow, Wednesday, something like that, or Thursday even. They played midweek. They need to have some days, to rest. But again, this is a great opportunity for Boca to just play against a team that is gonna have to play their starters, in Copa Sudamericana, and we're gonna have like 9 days rest from Saturday to Monday of the following week. So Boca should, we're gonna get Milton Jimenez and Alarcón. We already got them back. The team didn't train today. They didn't train on Sunday. They gave them 2 days off because last week they got no days off. So, which, we can, agree or disagree with that, but whatever, it's done. They're going back to training tomorrow morning and Tuesday morning. And the hope is that one or both of Ander Herrera and Edinson Cavani can be available for the game. It's probably 50-50, and even if they're fit, they're probably not going to start, but, we could get some reinforcements this week.
If I had to pick today with what we have, let's say that Cavani and Ander are good to go. They come on Sunday, say, hey, coach, I'm good to go. I'm 100%.
Yeah.
I would play, I would take out Velasco. I would play Milton Jimenez. That would be my starting 11. Same as the other, but switch.
Yes.
If you need Cavani or Ander to come in later, I will put them in the second half.
Yeah,
No problem with that. I would think it would be a mistake if Cavani starts for over
100%.
Entiel or over Milton Jimenez. Because Milton
100% agree.
Jimenez played
Yeah.
now, and he seemed, like you said, slow, but he has 9 days to get his fitness back. I think it would be a huge mistake if Cavani starts. Got nothing against him. It's just like, you gotta wait. You lost your position, you gotta wait,
Yeah.
gotta earn it back.
Yeah.
Same with
And
Ander.
be ready to help out in the second half if we need him.
Correct. So that's pretty much what we have. Again, we're gonna be playing. Is that confirmed that we're gonna be playing Independiente on Monday?
Yeah, I don't think the time of the game is confirmed, but like the reason why Erron basically canceled practice today and gave the guys another day of rest is because Boca got confirmation that they're playing on Monday night. So
Okay. I asked because I read about maybe Tuesday. That's
yeah,
why.
well, it was the possibility was that like it was Monday or Tuesday. Independiente obviously wants to push it to Tuesday or as far back as they can, so they can be rested, after their Copa Sudamericana game. But like Tuesday would be ridiculous. It would be too far. Like it would be like 10 days for Boca. Like you also don't want to have too much rest because you get rusty. So I think Monday night is a reasonable understanding that they can't do anything about Saturday, Sunday because of the Buenos Aires elections. So Monday night, we'll post the time when it's official. I think it will be official tonight. Like River is playing the very final game, the 8th game of the round of 16. Once that's done and the bracket is confirmed, they'll announce the timing for every game, and we'll let you know on social media.
Fantastic. Yeah. So seems like that's it. So we got the final 8, the famous Elite 8. So
Yes.
let's read what the brackets are going to be. So right now it will be Argentinos against San Lorenzo. Then it will be River against Platense. River is winning 2-0 right now with 40 minutes left. So let's say that they're going to pass. So they're going to be playing Platense. And then from our side of the bracket, we're going to have Central against Huracán and Boca against Independiente.
Yeah.
I think when we win, let's put it that way, let's be positive.
Okay.
I would love to play Huracán. The reasoning is very simple. I think that if we play Huracán, we're going to play in La Bombonera in the semifinal.
Yes.
I do not want to go play in Rosario, even though historically we had good games in Rosario. In a semifinal against Rosario Central, knowing how much they hate us from that Copa Argentina final 10 years ago, that they still they feel like it happened yesterday. I don't want Boca going away with these players to play in Rosario because that's going to be a very tough task.
Yeah.
So I would hope that when Boca wins, Huracán wins as well, so we can see them in the semifinal.
Especially because we beat Huracán at home in a month ago or something. So yeah.
So again, it's going to be a very interesting game against Independiente. Another Clásico. We have been doing very bad in Clásicos, so this is a good opportunity for our players to step it up, not have a Bombonera burning.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they need to step it up next Monday. I'm very excited about the game. I think it's going to be a great game against a great team. Independiente is a great team.
Play very well.
Yes. So it's their chance to be like, hey, we're going to show the fans that we're here to win it all. And if Erron doesn't do anything crazy, we should have a solid chance. With that being said, Rodri, I don't have anything else for everybody. Anything else you want to add?
No, just kind of tell fans to just follow us. We have, we do the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and then we have our YouTube channel that we're kind of trying to build out little by little. So if you guys can, follow us, just recommend it to your friends. We, all Boca fans are so passionate, and even more just like, English speaking fans. Just kind of you guys are all over the world and just kind of waking up at crazy times of the day, of the night to just watch the games, and we very much appreciate it. So yeah, just follow us, and we'll be here every week, through the good and bad, and we'll just kind of keep, sharing it with you guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rodri. Have a nice week, and until next time.
Bye, guys.